Red Bull's decision to demote Liam Lawson after just 2 races at the start of the 2025 Formula One season once again exposed the team's long-running struggle to stabilise the seat alongside Max Verstappen. While the move was characteristic of Red Bull's ruthless driver management philosophy, it was notable that Verstappen himself did not support the call. Lawson's Red Bull career was over almost before it had begun. Drafted in to replace Sergio Perez after just 11 Grands Prix with Racing Bulls, the New Zealander was thrust into one of the most unforgiving environments in modern Formula One. Expectations were immediate, margins were microscopic, and patience was minimal. From Red Bull's perspective, the results told a stark story. Lawson was eliminated in Q1 on debut in Melbourne before crashing out of the race, then endured a deeply difficult weekend in Shanghai, qualifying last for both the sprint and the Grand Prix and leaving without a point. For a team accustomed to fighting at the sharp end, that was enough to trigger decisive action. Yet Verstappen, a 4-time world champion and the clear centerpiece of Red Bull's operation, felt the judgment was not only harsh but counterproductive. 2 races for a teammate, of course I didn't agree with that at the time, Verstappen said. His comments cut to the heart of the issue: opportunity. At a top team like Red Bull, chances are rare, pressure is immense, and time is often the only thing a young driver truly needs. Remove that too quickly, Verstappen suggested, and the damage can be irreversible. The Dutchman's defence of Lawson was not rooted in sentimentality, but in context. Lawson had already proven his capability at Racing Bulls, where he delivered performances strong enough to justify his promotion. The step up, however, was always going to be severe. Red Bull's car philosophy, the internal comparison with Verstappen, and the expectation of immediate results form a uniquely hostile proving ground. Red Bull's solution was to replace Lawson with Yuki Tsunoda, making him Verstappen's 5th teammate since Daniel Ricciardo's departure in 2018. But the change failed to solve the underlying problem. Tsunoda endured a similarly difficult campaign, scoring just 30 points across 22 rounds and finishing 17th in the championship, while Verstappen fought Lando Norris for the driver's title. In that sense, Verstappen's argument was reinforced by events. Swapping drivers did not suddenly unlock performance. Instead, it underlined how narrow the window of success is for anyone paired with him and how deeply structural Red Bull's second driver problem has become. Since Ricciardo's exit, Pierre Gasly, Alex Albon, Perez, Lawson and Tsunoda have all fallen short of Red Bull's expectations. The consequences have been tangible. Despite Verstappen's dominance, Red Bull failed to secure the Constructors' Championship in 2021 and again in 2024, and slipped to 3rd in the standings in 2025 behind McLaren and Mercedes. That contrast with McLaren is telling. While Red Bull prioritizes hierarchy, McLaren has thrived by granting equal status to Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, even as they battled each other for the 2025 title. It is a fundamentally different philosophy, one based on internal competition rather than defined roles. Verstappen, however, remains convinced that Red Bull's approach is not flawed in principle, only in execution. If I were the team boss myself, I would always put a clear number 1 and 2 in place, he explained. Crucially, though, Verstappen stressed that a number 2 must still score enough points to secure the Constructors' title. In other words, dominance through structure only works if the supporting pillar is strong enough to hold the weight. The irony is that Verstappen's brilliance has made the problem harder to solve. His consistency, adaptability, and sheer pace magnify every weakness on the other side of the garage. In comparison, even capable drivers can appear inadequate, especially under a spotlight that rarely softens. Looking ahead, Verstappen sees hope in the arrival of Isaac Hadjar for 2026, coinciding with Formula One's new technical regulations. Hadjar's strong rookie season at Racing Bulls, highlighted by a podium at Zandvoort, has earned him the opportunity at a moment when the competitive landscape will be reset. Yes, that's very different, of course. Verstappen said. Also a new car, new regulations, so in that respect I think it's the right time to step in. That timing may prove critical. A fresh regulatory era offers a rare chance for both team and driver to grow together, rather than forcing adaptation into an already rigid system. If Red Bull is to resolve its long-standing imbalance, it may need not just a talented second driver, but the patience Verstappen himself believes Lawson was denied. Ultimately, Verstappen's disagreement was less about defending one driver and more about highlighting a cycle Red Bull has yet to break. Until it does, the second seat will remain the most demanding job in Formula One and perhaps the most unforgiving. Beyond the immediate driver changes, Lawson's demotion also reignited wider questions about Red Bull's talent pipeline and how aggressively it is being managed at the very top level. The team has long been praised for identifying young drivers early, but recent seasons have shown that identifying talent and nurturing it under sustained pressure are two very different challenges. When promotion becomes a short-term audition rather than a structured development step, even promising careers can stall before they truly begin.